and welcome once again to Makadel online training. Okay, so today I'm going to be showing you how to draft a basic bodies. Now, this basic bodies I'm showing you is a very simple form of drafting basic bodies. It is not standard by anyone. I just made it simple and I just kept it simple. Meaning you can still cut a dress and sew using this basic block, but it is very simple. So I'm not having a bust dart yet. I'm not having the back longer than the front. I'm not having all that, right? But I'm going to have my normal dart and some dart intakes. Okay, so it's just the basic bodies. Now what I'm doing here, you can as well do it on fabric. So don't say because I cut freehand I don't do pattern, so you can't flow with this. Please, whatever I am doing on this paper, put your fabric on fold and do the same thing. Once you know it's the same thing, there's nothing different. So this is just like you cutting your freehand but me translating it into pattern drafting. Okay, so let's go there. All right, so I've taken the liberty to draw these lines, and if you've been attending my classes, you know that the first thing you see are my lines, and I call them my margin lines. Okay, so this is my top line where you're seeing this, and this is my center line. So this line can be my center back or it can be my center front, but whatever the center is means that that's where I'm starting my measurements from. Like I said, what are we doing today? It is a basic bodice block. Okay, so let me go into a bit of lecture. All right, I'm just going to do a bit of lecture for you. I think I just thought of it. This is what I do for beginners, especially my students that are just starting, so I want to do same to you. Now, what is a basic block? A basic block is formed by a rectangle. Okay, a basic rectangle is not a square because one side is actually longer than the other side. Okay, so here I have my A, right, and on this part I have my B. Down here I have C, and on this part I have my D. Now this A, B, C, D is forming my basic rectangle. Now what are we seeing? We're just seeing lines. That's basically what you've seen now, just lines. Now can we translate these lines to a bit of what we can understand? So I'll call this line here where I marked my A to B, I'll call it line AB. Okay, now what I want you to understand is that this line AB is the same thing as line DC. We're trying to translate all this because right now we are working with lines. Okay, so sorry, I need to fold this up so I don't go messing up what I'm working with you guys with. Okay, so once you understand this, now the next question is, what is line B to C? So now this line BC is also going to be the same thing as line A to D. It's very clear. I'm just interpreting these lines. So this A to B, whatever you have here must be the same measurement with what you have down here. Whatever you have here from B to C must be the same measurement with whatever you're going to have from A to D. That is the translation here. Let's move further. Okay, so what do I mean by line AB? Now, any part of your body that is the largest part. Now, what is the largest part of our bodies? We have the bust, we have the waist, and we have the hips. That's basically the largest part. Now, if you're making a dress, a blouse for someone, you can as well use the hips. Now, depending on where is your blouse length stops. So wherever the blouse length stops, if that is wider than the bust, please use that. But if the bust is wider than that place, that length, then use the bust. The thing here is that your A to B is any wider part of your body between your bust, your waist, your lower waist, your hips. Okay, so if you're making a skirt, so what are we using as the widest part of our body to create this A to B? It is going to be the hips. So except the person's tummy is bigger than the hips, so you use that as A to B. For a gown, it would definitely be the hips as well. That's what we're going to use to create this. So my explanation is just that to create your A to B, what you need is your hips, your waist or your bust, and all of this is just what you're going to use to create your A to B. And then what is our B to C? That is the desired length of outfit, okay, or length of desired outfit. So it could be the length of your skirt, length of your blouse, length of your gown. B to C is going to be that measurement. Now let's move further. By now you should understand that your A to B, whatever your bust, your hip, your waist and your bust is all divided by 4. Anything that's to do with your bust is divided by 4. Anything that's to do with your waist is divided by 4, and your bust as well, be your hips, whichever one, is divided by 4. Okay, so that means to get now, when you're drafting a pattern block, you're working in quarters, meaning we are dividing our body into 2. The front body we are dividing it into 2, and the back we are dividing into 2. That gives it quarters. So we're working with just one side like this. So to get that one side, we are going to take whatever measurement we have round and divide it by 4 to give us that one side. So moving forward, A to B, I'm making a gown now, so I'm going to be using my hips. So my A to B for this is going to be my hip measurement divided by 4. So whatever I have there is going to form my A to B. And then my B to D is my gown length. So my dress, let me put it that way, my dress length. So once you understand this, you will definitely be cleared why we are forming this box. Okay, so we've ended that particular class. So let's move over to drafting our basic bodice. I just felt I should explain that to you. Okay, so now, like I said, we have a margin line. Now this is my top line, and then this is my center front. Okay, so I have put here my center front, and anything center front means it is on fold, except that your front has a zip. Okay, so having done this, we can now impute our measurements. Okay, so from here, now if you go through my classes, I've also always been saying that any horizontal measurement you have must have a corresponding vertical measurement, meaning that any measurement you take around you has a straight measurement. Okay, so now I want to put in my armhole. So whatever your armhole is, I had always I think I've said previously, but I'll still say it here again. To get your armhole, please list out your measurements. Now if you don't have your armhole measurement, use your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. that gives you your armhole measurement. Okay, so I have marked mine. We're making a basic bodice. So in this basic bodice, I'm not having, like I said, it's just a simple basic bodice, but I'm not going to be adding under bust, this, that, and all that. Okay, but after marking my armhole, I'm marking my waist measurement. Okay, and then your hip measurement. So I'm marking my hip measurement as well. You may not be seeing that, but that's what I have just done. So you mark, let me try and draw that out. So I marked my hip measurement, and then you mark whatever your full length, like your knee length or whatever you want to use for this outfit. So I'm using 40. I'll mark the same thing I've marked at different points. Why am I doing this? It's just to help me draw a straight line. So my chest measurement, my waist measurement, my hip measurement, and my full length. Now you're going to extend all of those lines you have marked into straight lines. What I'm doing for the down part is just extending it into a straight line. Okay, so just extend into straight lines. The next point we may need to draw is going to be our bust point. That is your shoulder to your bust. It's just so that we'll use it as a guide. Not that I really need it. Okay, so here you have your chest line. Here you have your waistline. Here you have your hip depth. I call it hip depth, so it's shoulder to hip. And then at the end, I have my dress length. So those are all the measurements I have there. So the next thing I'll do is to impute my neckline measurement, okay? So we have a basic measurement for adults. For kids, it's 2 by 2. For adults, 3 by 3. So I've imputed my 3 inches, and then you take whatever your shoulder is divided by 2, okay? So my shoulder divided by 2 is 8 inches, and I'll mark my 8 inches. I'll come down on this chest line and mark the same shoulder divided by 2, and I've marked. Extend that into a straight line, okay? So I've extended that into a straight line. Now drop your shoulder by 1 inch. Our shoulders are not straight, they are slanted, okay? So we are going to create a shoulder slope. So once you drop this by 1 inch, join it back to this 3 inches that you came. Okay. So I've joined it right back. Have you seen that? Okay. So having done that, I'll now come to my chest point. Here I'm going to, at this chest point where I'm going to impute my bust measurement divided by 4, okay? So whatever is your bust divided by 4, please, add it here. So that's mine. So once I do that, if you notice I did not draw my curve, my armhole curve. I always impute this before I draw my armhole curve. Like I said, it's just my very easy to go to method of drafting a basic dress for anybody. And this is what I've taught my students over the years, and they've made fantastic. If you go to my page, you'll find what they've made, and it's been awesome. Okay, so I've marked, I measured from here to this point, and I divided it by 2 and marked the center. Then I'm coming inwards towards me, towards the center front, and I'll mark half of an inch. If your bust is bigger, you can actually mark more, like 3/4. Okay, so from the slanted tip of my shoulder, I'm going to draw a line straight to that point I have marked, okay, where I came back to. Then I'll take my curve. From that point, I'm going to draw my armhole. You can actually do a freehand with this if you don't have this curve. So if you're going to be doing a freehand with it, please, from this point, just measure out 1 inch. From this point, place your tape. Mine is exactly at 1 inch. I didn't have to measure. May I do the 1 inch and just mark a dot. So that way you can take from here to that 1 inch and take it to this point. It's as easy as that, please, okay? So, having done that, I will move on. So I'll now come to my waist, okay? So you're going to take whatever your waist measurement is divided by 4. Mine is 40. Divided by 4, I'll put it there. Most times I use more. So it all depends on whatever. Please take a proper waist measurement and then, get that done, okay? So I've imputed mine. And then you're going to add 1 inch for your dart allowance. So I've added 1 extra inch for that. You're going to pick your ruler and join this to that line. Okay. So you join from here to the waist point. So we move on. So now we want to deal with the hip points. So here, you're going to take the measurement of your round hip. Whatever you're having, you're going to impute it here. Round hip divided by 4. So this is what I have, and I have placed it there. Now, whatever you have at this point here, it's the same thing you're going to put at the down part. But if you want it fitted, then you're going to minus between 1. Now, whatever measurement we have here is what we are going to impute here at this part. But if you want it fitted, so let's say what I have here is 12 and a quarter, I'll impute the same 12 and a quarter here. Okay, so let me just do this before I make the explanation. So please extend it into a straight line. Now if you want this fitted, you want this part of your gown fitted, you're going to come inwards 1 to 1.5. So by the time you come in 1 to 1.5, you're going to slant the line. That means you're going to be having your looking this way. I don't take out anything here because I want to use this pattern to create a shift dress for myself. So I'm okay with it like that. But please, if you want a fitted dress, come in 1 to 1.5 and draw your line down. Okay, so now you connect your waist to, I don't make mine very curvy because I'm a plus size and I don't want this place to be protruding, so I try to blend it in as much as possible. Okay, and gradually we're almost done. Are you seeing that? So our pattern has taken shape. So the next thing we have to do is from here we are going to go inwards, whatever your bust distance divided by 2 is. So bust distance is one nipple point to the other. Okay, so you check from one nipple point to the other. Can you see where my fingers are? Okay. So whatever you have there, you're going to divide by 2. So mine is 4.5. So you mark. Okay, remember we had added plus 1 inch to this our waist. Come and share that 1 inch into this point. So I'll come this way towards you, half of an inch, towards me another half of an inch. So I have taken off that 1 inch I had placed here. Okay, now from this part I'm going to measure downwards 4 inches. Okay, so see where I'm placing my tape. So from this line I'm going to mark downwards 4 inches and I'll place a dot. Okay, from here I'll just try to ascertain that I'm having the same 4.5, so I'm not marking anything in the wrong place. That is it. So now to get the line that is going up, you can actually draw a straight line all the way to the top if you want, but I always say one thing: place your ruler, place your tape at the top line, measure whatever your bust point, try and bring your tape close by there, whatever your bust height is. What is your bust height? Mine is 11.5. okay, and I know that this is 11.5. You will go downwards again 1.5 inches. So this is 11.5. I will come down 1.5 inches and mark my dot. So my bust point is 11.5, but I'm marking the dot for my dart at 13 inches. So I came down 1.5. So once I do that, you still confirm from here to that point what do you have, because everything has to be straight. I mark it at my 4.5. So I extend my line. So that's what I was saying. You can draw the line all the way up if you wish. It doesn't really matter. So that's where my dart is going to be. That's how I find my dart, because I don't want my dart being on top of my bust point and to be looking very bad. So this is that easy pattern, my ready run to pattern that I do. A sharp pattern, and I'll give you what you want. Fitted, well fitted. Once you can take your proper measurements, okay? So see that I've joined my darts, and what is left is my neckline. So now for this neckline, like I said, a basic is 3 by 3. It is when you decide to design this, then you can now decide on whatever neckline you want. So I'm just giving you a basic, okay? Like I said, I'm going to be sewing a shift dress. I'm going to copy this pattern out and show you how to create a shift dress from this same pattern. I can as well cut it freehand, but I want you to understand it. It's just what I'm doing here is exactly the same thing you do on your dress, okay? Now the pattern we are going to be making is actually one side has the stripes, one side is a plain fabric, so we're having 2 different things. That's why I'm running it to the pattern, okay? So I've come down 3, I went this way 3. So at that point, I just like drawing a line. Before I pick my curve, place it and create a round neck. create a round neck. Have you seen that? And sincerely, our front pattern is ready. So if you were doing it on fabric, you can draft your front and your back together and then trim off your back first before you cut off your front. So look at that. So that's our basic bodice, and it's really okay. So now I'm going to show you how to draft the back. So please always label your pattern. Like I said, it's a basic body, so you can write it, but I'm putting it here that this is my front basic body. So anybody picking this will know that I'm working with a basic body. So let's go to drafting the back.